Welcome to USA Global TV and Radio, where our mission is to provide education, entertainment, hope, and inspiration. USA Global TV and Radio connects you with experts and audiences all around the world every single day to help you succeed in business and to live a richer life. Visit us at usaglobaltv.com to learn about career and life-changing training and mentoring programs like the Listening Mentor. Subscribe to our newsletter to stay informed about our special programs and offers. Discover how you can become a guest on one of our shows or a host or producer of a USA Global TV and Radio show of your very own. That's USA Global TV and Radio, where the doctor is always in.
Hello, beautiful soul family, and welcome to Weekly Wisdom and Insights, your home for spiritually guided transformation and empowerment. I am your host, Dearjames, and together with the unseen Spirit, Source, and Symphony, we look at the current energies, we listen to the divine wisdom, and we go as guided. And oh my gosh, there is some really beautiful, incredible energies happening. And even just this morning, as I was finishing up the final touches and preparing, it was just one revelation after another. So let's jump into it. I'm not going to delay. And welcome everybody as you're joining. Put a shout out in the comments. Let me know you're here. And remember that we take your comments and questions live throughout the broadcast. So let's jump in because let's look at the main energies, and then we're going to move into the astrological influences, the main theme, and so forth. But we're going to walk through each one of these very, very quickly to set the stage. So first off, it's a 3-month. Welcome, Olivia. It's a 3-month, so it's the difficult beginnings, but to persevere. And we're in a major transition. So it is about persevering. We're entering this whole new era. And so that's why this is so profound. The focus is going to be on number 27. It's nourishing vision, nurture. Welcome, Alicia. And notice that as you're looking at the numbers, you see a lot of 2s. So, and of course, and 2s representing the divine feminine. The entire theme of these energies, and they're going to ripple out because we are in eclipse season as well. So we have, and I'll be there in a second, but it's the divine feminine. Just keep thinking and feeling and sensing the divine feminine. So we have 27, nourishing vision, what we nurture. We have, it's an 8-year, so it's about unite, coming together. 20 is that contemplation, that higher view, and like an overview of things. And then the 2 and the 0 become a 2, which is, of course, the receptive, the divine feminine. And to reflect. So we have all of this divine feminine energy. And when we started Weekly Wisdom and Insights, the Lady Jacqueline and I, back in November of 2021, and we said it was the return of the divine feminine. That was the first show. And this building and building and building, and you can see me just beaming and smiling because the energy of this, it's like, oh, we're finally here. And let me just go to the main theme. The main theme, a change gonna come. It's a song by Sam Cooke. And the unseen had me look at, his last name is spelled Cooke. And so we have this, a change gonna come, and then at last. And that is a song by Etta James. So they gave me these 2 songs for the theme, a change gonna come, and at last. And the letter E is, according to experts, E is a feminine letter which symbolizes the Egyptian goddess Isis, the Romans Diana, and the Greeks Aphrodite. In religion, the letter E stands for the breath of God, man, Mother Earth, and feminine energy. So the breath of life. The letter E also signifies enlightenment, ecstasy, and intuitive wisdom. So we have this beautiful, and note that with the image, you see this celestial pink, purple, blue, and then you see this beautiful feminine divine Buddha face emanating forward from the clouds. And then floating to the left is a cosmic egg. And again, beaming because, and you can see I'm wearing blue with pinkish color, because this whole theme of pink, purple, blue, this cosmic, they're saying, the unseen is saying to me, this cosmic dust, this cosmic renewal. And yes, they are the colors of Easter, pastel colors. Easter is this coming Sunday. And yet it's so much more than that. It is the representation. Easter represents the Annunciation, the announcement of the pregnancy of Mother Mary and so forth. It's 9 months before the birth. And so you can see divine feminine, the divine birth, divine renewal, the divine dust. There's a lot of divinity going on, and there's a lot of divine feminine. And let me just go to the first thing, since we're talking about this. The first thing the unseen said was, this is all in capitals and underlined, the divine feminine. So it's not about the way we see the divine feminine as an archetype in totality or in generality. What the unseen is saying is the divine feminine returns. And so it is literally the embodiment. The divine feminine returns. And then they said, make way, exclamation point. And then there was this image of just this divine feminine, like royalty. And she's walking forward with this regal grace, this triumphant, and this power and empowerment. So imagine just someone slowly walking towards you, towards you. So I'm seeing her from behind, and she's just walking with this absolute regal grace and this empowerment and this power and she's triumphant. But she's doing so with just this regal humility and grace. She's just promenading forward. And that, I'm just going to bring it back up. This main theme of, you see this divine feminine face. In the image here, it's a Buddhist image. But you see the grace, you see the femininity, you see the divinity. And then this cosmic egg. And the cosmic egg represents, let me just go to it very quickly to give you a proper definition, and then I'll explain. The cosmic egg is one of the most prominent icons in world mythology. It can be found in Egyptian, Babylonian, Polynesian, and many other creation stories. In almost all cases, this embryonic motif emerges out of darkness, floating upon the waters of chaos. Within this egg typically resides a divine being who literally creates themselves from nothing. It's known as the ex nihilo. This creator then goes on to form the material universe. So we have this, the divine feminine returns, the cosmic egg, and make way, and then the cosmic egg. This creator then goes on to form the material universe. And so there is a remaking at hand. There is a triumphal moment at hand. There is this return at hand. And we've been talking about this, like I said, and yet there's something going on right now. And the energy of it has me just beaming and smiling. And I know that the backdrop, we talk about this a lot, that the backdrop of the 3D world that we live in looks like just chaos, utter chaos. And in some aspects, yes, that's true, because the 2,000 plus years of the patriarchal Piscean era is complete. It's crumbling, meaning you dismantle, it crumbles, new cosmic egg, new things emerge. And so we're bearing witness to, we're going through the process of that transition, difficult beginnings, persevere, and thereby how we manage that and what we buy into and what we don't, what we nourish. And that is the point here. It's the whole focus is on the divine feminine nourishing vision, what we nurture, what wolf do we feed, and how powerful that is. So let's look at the astrological influences, because this is why the energies are they're right on time, and look at all of this that's taking place. So on March 20th, we had the Aries equinox. That's the spring in the northern hemisphere, autumn in the southern hemisphere. 5 days later is the full moon lunar eclipse in Libra. It's a Libra full moon, and it was conjunct the south node. And the south node is what we're releasing. Upcoming, you'll see here in a minute that the total solar eclipse coming up on the 8th of April is conjunct the north node. So it's solar. So in between, so on April 1st, we have Mercury stationing retrograde. And remember, they said to us, the unseen said to us, this Mercury retrograde is going to be, like I said in last week's show, this, it's like an April Fool's meets Christmas meets, we are advancing forward. We are moving forward, and at the same time, utilizing the rear view mirror and the side mirrors to navigate our forward mobility. This is not about, things getting tossed like an apple cart and everything wreaking havoc, and sometimes what can happen with a Mercury retrograde. This one is it's about fluidity. It's about forward movement, and we utilize these tools, these assets, to navigate our forward movement. Going back to the chart here, just to show you. Then on the 8th, the total solar eclipse in Aries, conjunct the north node. 2 days later, we had the Mars-Saturn conjunction on the 10th of April. And this sets the stage for a new 2-year cycle. These eclipses ripple out for, 2, 3, 4 years ahead, or into the future, if you will. And then on the 20th is this Jupiter-Uranus conjunction in Taurus. This will not happen again in our lifetimes. The next conjunction is 13, 14 years out in another sign, in a new sign. It's either Cancer or Gemini, I'm not quite sure. But the point is, look at the activity from 320 to 420, this celestial activity. The equinox, the lunar eclipse, the full moon lunar eclipse, Mercury retrograde, a total solar eclipse. By the way, that total solar eclipse is the completion, if you will. So at this same, I believe it was August of 2017, this total solar eclipse came from the northwest to the southeast and crossed the United States. This one coming up on the 8th goes from the southeast, the southwest to the northeast. So it's going to crisscross it. And there's X marks the spot. And we've had that for some time. Here's this beautiful image. X marks the spot. And so roughly 7 years apart, 7 years apart. Yeah, 7 years apart. Cycles of 7. And here's this X marks the spot, this completion. So all of this divine feminine energy, all of this celestial energy. And the unseen has been saying, it's a wake-up call. We're shaking the celestial tree. You know, that we're shaking everyone to their core, their roots. Why? And the image that came to me, if anybody's watched Harry Potter, and I forget which one it's in, but there's a moment where all of the students are in with the teacher in like the botany and so forth, and they pull up this creature and they repot them, but they have to put earmuffs on, and because if they don't, the screeching from this particular creature plant causes them, and one of them passes out because of the sound and everything. That's the image. It's like this sense of we are literally being pulled up, uprooted, and replanted. Cosmic egg. And the mandrakes. Yes, exactly. Thank you, Alicia. The mandrakes. And yes, Texas will be seen. Olivia is saying that they should be able to see, yes, Texas, it goes directly across the state of Texas. And Texas represented by the star. And you'll see the star coming up in a little bit here. So all of this, the unseen is saying to me, the celestial mandate, the divine timing of it all, and the divine feminine returns. And in some shows ago, the unseen spoke about this energy, the divine feminine, and the energy. And they gave us the genie in the bottle. It was that thing about this energy, this power, this energy, this essence is not to be contained, subjugated, controlled. Should anyone do that, they're going to have one heck of a time. It's not going to be pretty. Allow this beautiful energy, this empowerment, this divine regal grace, this kind of energy to move through you, to move with you in oneness and fluidity, in grace. Major empowerment, major enthusiasm, energy, life force, the whole thing. Try to contain it, try to harness it, try to manipulate it. God bless. It will not be pretty. So please do not do that. It's the cosmic 2. If anyone's ever been hit by the cosmic 2x4, it's that 1,000-fold when you attempt to manipulate. Because remember, 2,000 plus years of oppression, suppression, waiting, awaiting, and all of a sudden it's present and it returns, and the divine feminine energy, force, the divine feminine is present. It's her turn. Like in years past, reverence, great humility and reverence will win the day and will carry you wherever it is you wish to go. That's the way to work and harness this energy, meaning work with it. Okay, moving on, because there's so much to cover here. So we're going to look at the astrological chart very quickly. This is from the Libra full moon that just took place and the lunar eclipse that just took place on Monday. And it's just to show you the astrological wheel, and you see that in the blue, the point of the pyramid or the triangle is Pluto. And then to the right is the moon, directly opposite, and the sun and the moon are opposing. That's why there's the red lines. And that's how we get a full moon. The sun and the moon are opposite sides that illuminates its fullness. And so you see then the sun. So the blue triangle is really the sun, Pluto, and the moon. And then we have some activity between Saturn and Mars, down with Jupiter and Uranus. And remember these conjunctions coming up. So this Saturn-Mars conjunction, this Jupiter-Uranus conjunction. So there's a lot of, a dear friend of mine used to talk about teachable moments. There's a lot of teachable moments in this energy. And as we arc forward and arc out into it, so a lot of learning, a lot of grace is what we're looking at. And what I want to bring back to is when we're looking at the astrological influences, they talked about the ripple effect, patterns, parallels, and progress. So the unseen is saying to us with all of this energy from 320 to 420, and it's going to ripple out in various stages. But the point here is it's about the ripple effect. This isn't a one and done kind of, oh, it just happens or we expect it on this, specific day. No, these energies are here to stay. They're going to ripple out for some time to come, and they're going to reveal within ourselves and within society, so within the micro and the macro, the patterns, the parallels, and the progress we're making, that we're choosing. It's very important. And we're going to move to one of the more challenging things that came up for the show when I was listening from the unseen. I'm like, okay, we know that a change going to come at last is the main theme, the ripple effect, and these patterns and parallels and progress. Okay. It's like, oh, you almost wanted to say, oh my. And then I said, what's the mantra? And I heard, I reap what I sow. And I was kind of like, ooh, ow. Really? Really, that's the message you want me to put out there? And it just kept coming back. And so here it is. Our mantra is, I reap what I sow. It can have a negative connotation. However, in the image you see, and there's something else I want to draw everyone's attention to, is notice that in this image, it's a weaver, and you see their hands. In the image for the main theme, pardon me, it's coming up. It's not the main theme. You're going to see the hands, human hands, is a theme, because it is what the hands, from a religious standpoint, they say we lay hands on someone. We lift our hands up. We utilize our hands in prayer. We utilize them in healing. We utilize our hands. And so you're going to see this message about how our handiwork, what we do. I reap what I sow. And so, welcome, Colleen. And so, let me just talk to you about this. So this is from dictionary.com. To reap is to gather a crop, and to sow, to plant seeds. Throughout versions of the Bible, sowing is used as a metaphor for one's actions and reaping for the results of those actions. In the Hebrew Bible's book of Hosea, God finds the Israelites worshiping an idol of a calf. And in the 1611 King James Version says, they sow the wind and reap the whirlwind. The saying means that the consequences of already bad actions will be even worse. So the consequences of the actions, of the choices, our hands, what are we choosing? What are the works we're creating? In his Christian New Testament epistle to the Galatians, Paul the Apostle writes, be not deceived. God is not mocked. For whatsoever a man soweth, that shall he also reap. He goes on to instruct the Galatians to sow to please the Spirit rather than the flesh. So this is about having and placing ego, mind, personality in service to the soul. So it's sow to please the Spirit. It's about your soul source connection. And we've talked about this all the time in Weekly Wisdom and Insights. The message from the unseen is always allow your soul source connection to lead. Allow it to guide you. And thereby rather than the flesh, ego, mind, personality, indicating that a spiritual life will result in reward. And it's true, it's our truest calling, right? I mean, it's our truest calling. Once we recognize and realize we come in a soul. We don't come in an ego, mind, personality. We come in a soul, we leave a soul as a soul. It's our soul source connection. Piscean patriarchal era meant that the ego, mind, personality led. Matriarchal Aquarian age, divine feminine, means that our soul, what we nurture, leads. Our soul source connection leads. And thus, a spiritual life will result in reward. An English sermon collection from 1654, about 40 years after the King James Bible was finished, frequently addressed the theme of metaphorical sowing and reaping, helping you reap what you sow, achieve proverbial status. The expression later came to be used outside of religious contexts, often in politics, business, and as a general wisdom. Because again, we talk about this a lot. Whether you're a business, a corporation, an entrepreneur, a government, an institution, they're all comprised of people. And thus, what you reap, what you reap, you sow. What you sow, you reap. Sorry. And thus, this is applicable in how it's moved outside of just a religious context into politics and business and general wisdom. The 1820 book Maternal Solicitude for a Daughter's Best Interest advises working with diligence, but one cannot reap without the effort of first sowing. In 1822, the saying appeared in British Parliament, warning that policies enforced in the British colonies may later be applied back in England. One speaker said, "As we sow, so shall we reap." That our choices and our actions have consequences. And so again, hands, what are we doing with our hands? In 1884, Benjamin Butler, a third-party candidate for president of the United States, encouraged his supporters to vote third party, saying, "He who expects to reap must sow, and he can't reap when he ought to be sowing, and the presidential crop is harvested only once in 4 years." So again, there's a beauty in the sense of what wolf are you feeding? What are the choices we are making? What are we nourishing? And it's to recognize a change gonna come at last. It's time. And thereby is to be mindful of what we are sowing so that what we're reaping is of value and is of goodness and light and positivity and the ripple effect of it and so forth. In 1894, Profitable Advertising magazine encouraged readers to spend liberally on advertising, invoking the old story of sowing and reaping that the preacher tells to illustrate the concept of return on investment. A 1911 ad in the Big Four Poultry Journal made the same comparison with regard to advertising. Also in 1911, Business Philosopher magazine put the proverb to use in the context of positive thinking and self-help, offering advice such as sow a good action, reap a good habit. Sow a good habit, reap a good character. These examples connect material success to the expression's original cautions about moral character. Although you reap what you sow has spread well beyond religion and morality, the proverb still enjoys use in those contexts, especially owing to its biblical origins. So there's a point here in our mantra, bringing it back up here. I reap what I sow. It is a wake-up call. Remember, there is a wake-up call opportunity here. They are the proverbial life force, the tree of origin and so forth. We are being shaken. It's being uprooted and replanted, this cosmic egg. And so, because it's about deliverance, being delivered. And this is number 5 that the unseen gave. And they said it was just the word deliverance with exclamation points and underlined. And then what I saw was pink, purple clouds, and I heard the word regalia. Now, it's important to know the main image. I chose this a few days ago. I chose this. The universe, the unseen chose it. I saw it and I went, yep, that's it. We added the cosmic egg, and here it was. And then it wasn't until this morning that I'm listening to the unseen for their notes, their guidance. And this word deliverance, pink, purple clouds, and then I heard the word regalia. And regalia, royal rights or prerogatives, ceremonial emblems or robes of royalty or high office, set of emblems, symbols, or paraphernalia indicative of royal status, as well as rights, prerogatives, and privileges enjoyed by a sovereign. What does this all mean? What does that all mean? So again, go back to that, the divine feminine returns. And then this deliverance, pink, purple clouds, regalia. Throughout our history, human history, we have kings, queens, pharaohs. We have earthly representation or earthly examples of regalia and royalty, rulers. This is returning us to our cosmic divine rulers, kings, queens, royalty, and the beauty of it's like the divine mother, the divine father, these divine parents, this cosmic dust, this cosmic egg, this emphasis on lifting ourselves up, remembering, transplanting who we are. Because again, we've forgotten our divinity. We've forgotten our royal selves, our royal status. We've become so very earthbound, diminished, separated from our divine light, our soul source connection, who we truly are. And this is an absolute return to, and the point that there will be divine emblems, symbols. There will be witnessable, if that's a word. Alicia will correct me. The point, there'll be literal manifestations, signs, symbols that demonstrate the purity of this truth to us. We will see it, feel it, embody it, live it. You see the smile. You see the smile on my face. The energy rippling through this. So moving forward, we're going to go to hexagram 27. It is nourishing vision. Its action is to nurture. What wolf do we feed? Its hidden influence is to the receptive. Alicia's saying, to my surprise, it is a word. Yes! Its underlining cause is 28, critical mass, adjust. See, we've reached that apex moment, that critical mass moment. The old, the Piscean era, patriarchal era and everything is complete. It's over. It's done. And namaste, we bow to the divine in you, to it. It serves a beautiful purpose. It is 1/2 of the whole, or 1/3 of the whole, because we have the divine masculine, the divine feminine, and the Holy Spirit, the divine breath. With nourishing vision 27, it says, ignorance is the night of the mind, but a night without moon and star. Texas with the star, the eclipse. And I want to jump forward because I'm going to jump in. We're going to come back to this for a second. Sorry. I'm bringing up this image of the star card. Note that it's number 17. Follow, be led. Note that it is ruled by Aquarius. It's governed by Aquarius. Note the divine feminine in full regalia and in full empowerment, in her innateness, her beauty. There's the sacred ibis. It's the red ibis that was associated with, I pronounce it as Thoth, it may be Toth, and you note that there's what looks like either a mountain or a pyramid in the far back. But what she is, and she has 1 foot rooted in the water and 1 foot and leg and everything, her body on the earth. And she's pouring these jugs of water, living waters, life force, soma, replenishing into the waters, into the earth. It's the 7 stars of the Pleiades with the star, the divine feminine, the creatrix, the life-giving force. And again, we see this purple, pink. So we've got this card, and then we're going to just quickly, before we go back to hexagram 27, there's an image here. We have the 8 of Wands from the tarot, and we have the cosmic egg. 2 symbols on the left of the card, upper left, it's the number 8. It's Mercury. It's a symbol for Mercury, the messenger of the god to the gods. And then the symbol for Sagittarius. And what was so very interesting about this particular version of the 8 of Wands is that it looks like an umbrella. It looks like a kite. And so think of the empowerment. Think of the wind and the empowerment that, and when you are flying a kite, we do it as children. But remember the lift it takes. You've got to get it. You got to run with it. So difficult beginnings, persevere. You've got to get the kite. You've got to get the kite up into the air. And then once it's up and the wind gusts are, you've got to hold on to it. But you hold on to it in a way where you allow it. You're one with it. You're not controlling it. The 8 of Wands also typically means, as you can see at the bottom of the card, there's the word swiftness. And this is by the Thoth Tarot. So we've got the ibis representing Thoth. This is the Thoth Tarot by Aleister Crowley. And then we've got this rainbow above it. So the message here and the rainbow representing utopia, the promised land, joys, blessings, the whole shebang. But the 8 of Wands in the tarot represents fast-moving, so swift, fast-moving communication. The eclipse season, the equinox, the Mercury retrograde, these conjunctions. We're talking about swift-moving action, swift-moving events, swift-moving communication, things that will move us forward. And the point, again, is to flow with these energies. Do not try to obstruct them, contain them, avoid them. Go with the flow. Move with them. Because the whole point of them is to bring about joy, happiness, deliverance, a rainbow. I mean, who's not excited and joyed by a rainbow, by the presence of a rainbow? So bear that in mind, no matter what your individual events may feel like, emotions, energies, remember this is all for us. It is delivering us to the new. So back to hexagram 27. Everyone sees the unseen in proportion to the clarity of the heart. And that depends upon how much one has polished it. Whoever has polished it more sees more. More unseen forms become manifest. This is a quote by Rumi. So, thunderous change now moves within the mountain of keeping still. The hidden influence is the receptive, or a need to reflect on the type of inner vision we are nourishing. This is a time to consider what type of thoughts you nourish in order to understand why events unfold as they do. Your motivations can be understood by looking at what you attract to yourself. The cause is critical mass, or the idea that after a breaking point, you must look for the real essence of what might fulfill you. Perhaps dissatisfaction or defeat is merely a way for you to understand the hunger pain for change. Before proceeding, take time to understand how your thoughts shape and nurture experience. It is as if we have two minds, one that exists in the carbon-based organic body that is focused wholly on survival, ego, mind, personality. It is trained to detect anything that is wrong in the environment. The other is energetic and guides our dreams with a boundless optimism focused on growth. Both are natural in all of us, although their focus can be at odds. The omniscient, dreaming mind has the purpose of unleashing the patterns of thought that lead to stagnation or a lack of fulfillment. In Nourishing Vision, we see what is important to people because of where they focus their energy. Are you cultivating a picture of success or failure? Faith or fear? How you nourish your body is no different from how you are organizing your experiences. Are you in a hurry or do you enjoy eating? Is your philosophy manifesting the feeling that all is well in the world or that life is working against you? If you have hit a wall, is this wall just the fear of making necessary changes? What we think about all day colors the environment we meet. This is a time to examine your motivations, thoughts, and actions so that you can move in sync with what you are creating for yourself. We want to be moving in sync with the divine feminine, her return, those energies. So we want to be in sync with that. Smile and watch how the world responds. Watch how it smiles back at you. Reboot your mind into an open and non-judgmental perspective and watch how the world opens to you. There are no lines separating what is happening in here from what transpires out there. The highest expression of Yi, Nourishing Vision, is not just personal sustenance, but an ability to create nourishment that fulfills those around you too. So this is the ripple effect. It's not just about us. It's about when we smile and the world smiles back and the ripple effect that creates. And of course, it's opposite. I reap what I sow. Critical mass is also a message that you cannot fill yourself up and hold on to the great energy or it will overwhelm you. See, you cannot contain this. Do not attempt to contain this new energy. Not the one we're releasing. You don't want to contain that one either, because this great energy will overwhelm you because it's not meant to be contained. It's meant to be harnessed in the most pure, positive, wonderful way. If you seek abundance in life, you can only remain open by allowing this abundance to flow out into the world. See, it's got to come in, do its thing, and move through us, knowing, believing, having the faith that will constantly be present. It will return. It will ebb and flow, but it is constantly present. It is going to be constantly working with us. We don't have to contain something or try to hold onto it. We don't stop time. We move with it. Because you are open to life's benevolence, it fills you daily. And this is the hexagram 27 that we're working with is from cafeocell.com with Carrie Hone. Brilliant, beautiful website and information about the hexagrams and the I Ching. And let me just bring up this quote. What the people determine as great, they nourish. And this is from the master. Again, a set of hands forming a heart with these beautiful flower petals, pinks, purples, blues. But what the people determine as great, they nourish. So this says to us, what we determine individually and collectively, so each one of us individually plays a role in the wolf we feed, in the choices we make, in the world we live in. And with all of that said, what the unseen is saying to us is, I'm going to go to number 2. Ding, ding, ding goes the trolley. Now I know it's ding, ding, ding goes the bell, but what they said to me was ding, ding, ding goes the trolley. This is Judy Garland, Meet Me in St. Louis. and it's called The Trolley Song. And this came out on, it's part of, or the movie is played where it's on the cusp of the 1904 World's Fair. World's Fair. So they're making this ding, 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 goes the trolley, goes the bell. But the trolley, see, moving forward, it's going somewhere. And let me just come back to this for a second. Meet Me in St. Louis is a classic MGM romantic musical comedy that focuses on four sisters, one of whom is Judy Garland, on the cusp of the 1904 St. Louis World's Fair, world event, world gathering, the world. The film spotlights the sisters' education in the ways of the world, which includes, but isn't limited to, learning about life and love, courtesy of the prototypical boy next door. In the end, love, accompanied by song, dance, and period costumes, regalia, all in glorious technicolor. We've talked about going from color to technicolor. So in this, they're saying, in the end, love, accompanied by song, dance, and period costumes, all in glorious technicolor, conquers all. So there's this culmination, this bridging, this molding and shaping, this new cosmic egg, this new way of being. And they're harking back to something in 1904, 120 years ago, at the World's Fair. Uniting, coming together, unite. Going back to hexagram 27. The rousing thunder moves within the mountain. It suggests how thought is excited into action. The master said, this is our quote, the master said, what the people determine as great, they nourish. The energy of thought becomes manifestation simply in how you interpret events. Many people can witness the same event, but each will project a different experience because it's what's happening internally with them. It's how we see, is the cup half full or half empty? Is it happening for me or to me? There's so many things that will make our experience the same event. So the upcoming eclipse, everybody that will watch it in the path of totality is going to see it and experience it, and even outside of it, will see it and experience it differently. To know what is important to the person, one must only observe what they actively cultivate. Although you come to give life labels, the way passes through the mouth without flavor. If you are participating in your growth, you will see the way as being good. If you are not, you will call it bad. And yet it remains without distinction, without flavor. It's divine and neutral. Observe the person by what they nourish. A person who understands the way will conform to the way. A person who lives by the rules of others will conform to the rules of others. A person who knows only loss will conform to loss. In the image of a mouth, nourishment goes in and expression comes out. What you nourish in your heart and mind becomes the image reflected upon experience. If you want to experience life differently, begin to approach life differently. There was a student who watched a bee spinning upside down in a shallow pond. When it began to drown, he pulled it out and was stung. The master watched as another bee crawled into the pond. When it started to drown, the student pulled it out and was stung again. This is an example of how what you repeatedly do comes to define your character. If you are not happy with the course of events, then do things differently. Begin anew. It is never too late. It is never too late. We are always right on time. So no matter where you are, no matter what age, where you are in life, if you don't like the way things are, if you don't like the way things look, change them. Be willing to take that first step and change them, because it will reflect the road of life of all of this abundance will rise up to greet you, to meet you. Both nuclear trigrams emerge as the receptive earth, the divine feminine, receptive earth, suggesting a time to reflect upon habitual behavior. You receive nourishment or reward in many ways, but this sustenance merely reflects how you sustain your way of living. If the outcome or response to what you do is always the same, then you must derive some benefit from it, or you would change your actions. So don't forget, we can be addicted to the shadow. We can be addicted to the narcissist, to the victim, as equally, because all we've done is trained ourselves. It's like a record, it's playing in the groove, and the groove gets deeper and deeper and deeper. Well, that can equally be changed to a new groove that goes higher and higher and higher. It's simply the choices we make. You have the power to shape your existence simply in the way you approach them. Your destiny unfolds from a seed within, although life will always meet you halfway with the events that will cultivate it. I would say to you, life will always meet you in totality, in wholeness, with the events that will cultivate it. Sincere in your tay and remaining open in your response, nothing ever comes to block your way. So when we're frustrated and we feel blocked, it's because that's the energy that we're working with. When it feels open and fluid, expansive, like this energy does, and I hope it's radiating and coming through to all of you, this is on tap, and we can be in the flow of this energy. Let me just go to number 3 number 3, and they said, never before, never again, just you wait and see. And I was taken aback by that in a beautiful way. It's number 3, and there was a little extra loop on that. And by the way, that reminds me about 1313. The divine feminine returns. The divine feminine. There's an aspect about this, about the number 13. This is 1313. This doubling down, 13 squared. This 3 has a little extra loop on it when I wrote it, like a squared element. Never before, never again. Just you wait and see. And then they said extraordinary times, extraordinary events, people, places, and things. So again, in your individual lives, in our individual lives, and in our collective lives, World Fair, this eclipse, this total solar eclipse. Never before, never again. Just you wait and see. Extraordinary times, extraordinary events, people, places, and things. So do not be surprised by extraordinary times, extraordinary events, people, places, and things, because they haven't happened before and they won't happen again. Just you wait and see. And it's number 3. It's representing the Trinity. There's a cosmic, celestial, divine, royalty, grace aspect to all of this. Going back to hexagram 27, the way is easy, yet people prefer bypaths, meaning the trodden path. They don't take the path less traveled. Connecting and leading with your soul source connection, living your life that way, is the path less traveled at this moment. The ideal becomes the new reality. It becomes the new. You can know what your path will look like by what you nourish. As thunder is aroused within, you have the opportunity to observe what motivates you and what you nourish at the root of each experience. The root. There, we're back to the mandrakes. The root, the primordial tree, being the cosmic egg, being uprooted and re-established, replanted. As thunder is aroused within, you have the opportunity to observe what motivates you and what you nourish at the root of each experience. At the threshold of perception, pay heed to what you provide with nourishment and to what you seek, because you will find it. In knowing that a defensive attitude will always bring about events that will set you free from it, relax into the fulfillment that comes with witnessing, life's power to nourish you. As we nourish life, life nourishes us. We are in constant reciprocity with one another, with our environment, people, places, things, and with the unseen. The beauty of reciprocity, and remember, is it positive and joyful and good, or is it shadow and harsh and reactive? We're in reciprocity. Our last quote, another beautiful set of hands. When you are open to life's benevolence, it fills you daily. And so when we hold up our hands, open palm up, we're receiving. And you see this radiant life force, and you see the pink with the sun. And it's this whole thing about when you are open to life's benevolence, it fills you daily. They're saying to me, it finds you. It's natural. And this is a quote by Carrie Hone from cafeosoul.com. So the overall message, there's so many in this week. There's so many powerful messages with all of this planetary activity, as above, so below. All of this divine feminine, the divine feminine energy. And number 4, the unseen, they said, life is a mystery. And it was the song by Madonna, Like a Prayer. So life is a mystery. And they said, pushing back against, quote, the powers that be, the time, the fates. So this is about pushing back. Life is a mystery, like a prayer. Pushing back against the powers that be. We're in that changeover period. So we're pushing back against the powers that be. They must recede. Period. End of story. Have a nice day. Get on the train. Get on the new train, because the old train has come into the station. It's docking. It's not going anywhere. It's done. So you get on the new train and you flow with the energies and you move with the times, because the unseen is saying pushing back against the powers that be, the times, the fates, meaning, and the fates determine times, the length of our lives. There are 3, the more, the fates. One spins it, one measures it, one spins it, one cuts it. And so no matter whether it's our individual lives, our life force, our strand of time that has been spun and measured and cut, or whether it is that as a totality, uniting, world fair, world events, that too the fates have spun, measured, and cut, timed. And let me just go to this because I don't want to leave it out, and it'll be last but not least as we're wrapping up the show. It's Pam Youngin's North Point Journal for this week. And this image is by Piro from Pixabay. I want you to note, oops, let me bring it back. Sorry, I brought it up, but you all can't see it. There it is. This beautiful image. Note that it's an image of Earth, and on the face of it is overlaid like this, like an antiquities kind of time device, clock. You have around the face of the clock these teal-colored orbs, circles. There are 17 of them, and they denote the cycles of the moon, the divine feminine. The hand is 5 minutes to midnight, this midnight hour. Life is a mystery. She literally says, in the midnight hour, I will take you there. You can't make this stuff up if you tried. And so Pam Youngin's in her North Point Journal is talking about the upcoming lunar eclipse. And she says, at precisely 12 a.m. Pacific Daylight Time on March 25th, the full moon perfects and a penumbral lunar eclipse is near its peak. Visually, this type of eclipse is somewhat anticlimactic. Instead of the moon turning reddish, as it does during a total lunar eclipse, the disk of the moon will be only slightly darker than normal for about 4 hours total. However, all eclipses are powerful no matter their designation. Typically, eclipses occur in pairs twice a year when a new or full moon is within a few degrees of the nodal axis, either the north or the south nodes. The nodal axis can be thought of as an agent of karmic rebalancing, with the south node representing the past, we are healing and releasing, and the north node indicating our path of evolutionary advancement. So again, this lunar eclipse was conjunct the south node, what we're healing and releasing. She goes on to say, since this first eclipse of 2024 is a south node eclipse, the moon is closest to the south node, it may bring up issues from the past, either from this lifetime or other incarnations for us to review. This eclipse is designed to help us release old emotions, behaviors, and attachments that have been holding us back to clear way for a new beginning. So we're looking at patterns, parallels, progress, this cleansing of the old. With the eclipse in cooperative Libra, it is specifically focused on relationship themes, on forgiving ourselves and others, and on cleansing of old unhealthy patterns of relating. So again, what are our thoughts? What I sow, what I reap, what I sow, I reap. Unexpected events can occur that alter our reality around the time of a lunar eclipse, and some may experience major transitions. Emotions are heightened, and we tend to react instinctively instead of logically. As the sign of the scales, Libra is also associated with justice, the courts, and lawsuits. We can expect that these themes will be in the news this week and be the source of some heated debate. The aspects to the moon from other planets at the time of the lunation also provide insights into the effects of this eclipse. Radical Uranus is in a challenging sesquiquadrate aspect to the moon, triggering impulsive reactions and erratic emotions. This aspect also intensifies an urgent need to be free of restrictive or unfair conditions. However, with Pluto trine the moon, psychic perceptions and intuitions are enhanced, and we may feel especially in tune with our sense of mission or higher purpose. The unseen is screaming at us what our higher purpose is. They're talking to us collectively as a unit. And our higher purpose is to advance, is to quote unquote get it right, move forward, and do so in a healthy manner. Allow ourselves to be uprooted, trees shaken, and replanted. See, they're not just shaking us out there in the middle of nowhere and leaving us high and dry hanging out there. They're repurposing us. They're replanting us. There's a new. And that is both the mystery, because the mystery, who, how, when, where, and yet the reality, the truth of the fact that this is what's happening. And so with this eclipse, with all of this ripple effect and this pileup from 320 to, and wait till you see the chart for the April 8th, the astrological chart for the April 8th total solar eclipse. Most all of the planets like that planetary pileup, they're all just stacked up together. So you can see the force, the power, the energy, the uniting coming together for us, for you, for each of us. So be on the right train, feed the right wolf. What I sow, I reap. And it's never too late. It is never too late. I said this earlier. They're saying again, it is never too late. There is nothing negative about any of this, and certainly not about what I sow, I reap. The message is we can always change. We can always pivot. We can always create anew. And so do so. If you've been mired in negativity or shadow work and so forth, as we said, harness the shadow to serve the light, to move you forward. Be on the right train, because deliverance, pink, purple clouds, regalia, the star card, the divine feminine. This never before, never again, just you wait and see. Regalia is at hand. And this is going to be rippling out for years to come. There's a good few years of an arc here. if not an eternity, that this will be playing out. Thank you all so much for your presence, for being on this journey. You as a soul family are so amazing and so incredible and so cherished. And so I cannot wait to see where this all leads and where it goes. I hope this perma smile that I have on my face that is radiating through reaches all of you and stays with you. Can't wait to see you until next week. Be well.